Hey guys, Laura JeH here in my room in Brantford, and I have a question. I am curious. If I were to create a course where you had the opportunity to gain access to the special practice formula that I've created, if you have access to the emotional guidance system that I have posted on my wall, that has been created into a diagram I'll share for the emotional high rise of awareness that helps you understand how to maneuver your emotional states with greater awareness. Because our awareness is ultimately the key, the secret to more. We are chasing more all the time. More is the call that we all hear. We want more, 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 more. Well, what if we went in to ourselves to find the answer? Novel idea. Not really, but to actually practice it daily. Not just making it a one-time affair, a cheat, but a practice. Spritzing ourselves with sacred tinctures. This one being iodine. My friend who knows a lot about minerals told me to do the iodine and then follow it with magnesium, and even labeled the bottles for me, which was quite wonderful, and to spritz in key points. Oh, I got that one in my mouth, I think. So magnesium is actually what you get in your Epsom salts. It's a sodium magnesium blend that ultimately releases the toxins. And if you think of your emotions like toxins, that you want to remove them, you want to purify the vessel, you want to get rid of what doesn't belong, what isn't natural. And there is a difference between natural and normal. Normal is what we have deemed socially acceptable, and natural is actually what is real. Real being the realistic evidence appearing real. Appearing legit. The realistic evidence appearing legit in tomorrow's yesterday. Because if you think about now as tomorrow's yesterday, then you actually come back to the fact that all of it is actually happening right here where we are. And if we can actually balance ourselves and to realize that life happens on the mat, that life is not about going to one class or event or course and expecting our entire lives to change. Life is about showing up daily for our own practice, our personal special practice, where we actually get onto our yoga mat and become the warrior, the one who is willing to stand for what we believe in. For realizing that yoga, some people say, is bad because it worships deities and all of those things that people misunderstand because they don't like one part of it, and so then they throw out the whole book. Well, what if instead of doing that, what if instead we actually realized that as we moved through life, we have the opportunity to grow in flexibility and to use a special practice to get us there. The special practice is what allows us to understand all of the elements of our multidimensional being. The multidimensional aspects of our being. We are multidimensional who are going through the sacred sojourn of the soul. You are more than you everything we have. We are here together because we are meant to be together, not apart, alone, isolated. Did you know that ants will die if they're separated from their hive? They must be part of their colony and contribute, or they will become something other than they wanted and they needed. Sometimes what we want is different from what we need, and if we believe what others say over what we feel, we forget how to tune into the emotions that are arising now. It is time for us to come together and to say, let's find a way to play together. It is time 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 for us to play together. It is time to play together. We must now come together on our mats, individually and together, because what is happening now is happening where you are too, because there is only one time, and it is now. We're both in it right now. Won't you see how we have time to come together now? But if we won't, we must pay the consequences. We live in a universe of cause and effect. When we don't understand how to bring balance to our internal emotional systems, we crash and burn. We must learn to catch ourselves before we wreck ourselves. We must remember it is time. It is time. It is time to get onto our mats, to enter into our special practice. The S was the sacred sojourn of the soul, as I said, and the P is physiology. We must understand that we must exercise the vessel that moves us through this life. As us, we must honor ourselves and see what we can do. Why put limits onto what we believe we are capable of? We can do anything we want to do if we are willing to enter into our emotional guidance system, and to realize that we will fall if we don't get ourselves balanced, 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 yeah. We must reach a state of inner peace, which is what we will do as peaceful inner warriors united. Oh yeah. Let us understand the conscious mind, the subconscious, and all that we have driving our lives until we realize that we must gain real eyes to see the lies that makes us realize what this is. It's the Matrix, oh my, she said it, and it sent her wild last year, but that's okay, because sometimes they say that we must go through a sacred awakening that sometimes makes us seem like we have gone mad. We start talking in riddles, or us jokers too. I recorded a video before I went into the mental health act system, the ones that are supposed to save you some time, energy, attention, money, and more of your energetic resources. Oh, oh Lord, don't you understand that you have a chance to develop your intuition by marrying your multidimensional nature into this moment, yeah, into this moment, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh, oh, oh. Oh, 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 yes, oh, 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 ah, 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 oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh, oh. Okay. So ironically enough, not ironically at all, as you might suspect, there is an A after the I being intuition, and the A being alignment. And then, of course, comes leadership. Self-leadership being the primary act of significance that we must, as responsible caretakers of the galaxy that is us, we must be willing to live right. And by right, I do not mean by the laws of one book, because all books are written by men and women alike. But men is all-encompassing, so anyone that contests it, realize that women is right there in men, and men in women. It's like we're so connected, we try to separate ourselves through disconnection and separation. Why? Let's just be like, okay, women, men encompass women, just put a woe before that, and you got the woe men, and it's good. His story being the patriarchal history, the one that X'd out the feminine, the divine feminine archetype. Archetypes being familiar patterns that help us say, hey, I'm familiar with that because of that pattern. I've noticed it before in a different situation. But it makes sense because I have something to relate it to, and we all need something to relate things to. We need boxes for safety. We want to know that right there we have this and this and this and this and this. That's why we love organization and order, yes? Yes or yes? Realize when people do that to you, by the way. Did you notice that I said yes or yes instead of yes or no? I didn't give you a choice, even though I seemed like I did. I made it seem like I did, but I didn't actually give you a choice. I told you yes or yes. Which yes are you going to choose, right? And then I even added in the right unconsciously, or because I've practiced it so many times with all the sales training that I've done over the years, to subliminally encourage you to suggest that I am right, for you to then also experience my rightness and perceive the rightness in my prescription for you. Because so many of us are trying to prescribe for someone else's life, yes? Self-leadership is about learning to prescribe for yourself. And one of the cool things about the special practice that now you have an outline for through my song, which if you have lasted this long, congratulations to you. That is 16 and a half minutes of your life you have given to me, and I say thank you. And I have also given to you. And if you want to say thank you in any way, then please leave a comment. Share this with some friends that would benefit from gaining access to the special practice and knowing that I'll be launching a course in February 2020, where you will have the opportunity to gain access to weekly calls, emails, and it's all part of transforming your self-image, which has been the journey that I've been going through. I have been changing so much of my life. So much of my life has changed when the people that you love and are most close to are changing in what they're capable of. It's a real adjustment for everyone involved. We have to give ourselves grace for when we don't have as much grace in the moment as what we wish we'd have had, and we do something to potentially jeopardize a relationship of importance. And then we must also understand that, generally speaking, when we get most depressed is when we are in a bad state with an important relationship. When an important relationship is having difficulties, generally speaking, we are stressed. Our anxiety levels are higher. Our attachment disorders and patterns of behavior start emerging. And what we must also understand too is that we actually have different attachment styles we have developed before the age of 2. Before the age of 2, we actually gain our attachment style based on how our primary caregiver / givers react to us and their amount of fear. Because as little energetic beings, babies are only responding to the energy of the parent. So if you are full of fear in any way or many ways, that false evidence appearing real, the fear of, oh my God, what if, and all the catastrophizing that some parents do about what's going to happen to their baby as that baby ages, and they're responsible for it, and it's just like, I want to look after you so bad I will kill anything that even threatens you. And then you have the mother archetype meeting the maiden, who is like, hey, let's go, let's have some fun, let's do it, I've got no idea. 11133. 133 is the time right now in this moment. That 33 showing up to say that angel messengers are showing up to say, right on, sister, keep going. Sis star, the sister from a star planet. We are all sisters and brothers to one another. It's time for us to stop separating ourselves through race, religion, creed, class, financial status. What if instead of chasing things, we got back to asking ourselves what is actually most important to us at the end of the day. At the end of our life, where do we want to end up? Who do we want to spend our last dying breaths with? What do we want to be doing? What do we want to have said that we have done? What is the legacy that we want to leave for someone else? What is the daily practice we want to say to the ones that we leave behind? Practice on your mat too, my darling, my beloved, my one that I've been waiting for, that is no longer anyone outside of me but me, myself, and I. Without that being narcissistic, but realizing that it is easy to live on a narcissistic path if we have not yet figured out who we are living for, not just ourselves, but the ones that will come after us, the generations that follow. Those are the ones that we have to be mindful of, filling our minds full of what ifs for those children, instead of in the moment fearing for their imminent safety, which obviously as a parent you have to do. But instead of doing that all the time, what if instead we focused our energy on what we wanted to do with the planet, what we personally were going to do, how we personally were going to contribute, what piece of garbage were we going to pick up randomly, with no expectation? These are the things that if we can just do small acts, or be like the 18-year-old kid out of Ireland that designed the magnetic collector of plastics, that actually created a substance that could go into water and then be able to connect to these different plastics, and then when it was magnetized, dragged up the plastics too. How amazing is that, right? What if we each did our part, as each of us are already trying to do, sometimes unconsciously though, and realizing the difference between what is unconscious, what is conscious, and then what is in the subconscious. Unconscious, not even aware of it. Conscious, know it exists, might know that I'm not good at it yet, but add in yet anytime you're working on something that you realize you're not good at yet. Because then it trains your mind to say, I'm getting good at that, I'm working on it, I am getting better, yes, yay! All of that happens in one moment, simply because you set yourself up for success by adding yet to that statement, yes? Yes or yes? Pay attention to who is programming you. Realize this is programming in and of itself, because you're giving me your time, your attention, effort, money, maybe even, should you choose to, by all means. I say thank you very much and have huge gratitude and appreciation for you in helping me do what I do. Because when you don't charge for things, it really damages your self-esteem until you separate your self-esteem from your value, your dollar value, the amount in the bank account, instead of seeing yourself as worth only that. What if you realized as a baby you already started out as enough? What if you realized that as a child you loved every part of yourself, including your own feces, because you knew you were that beautiful? And then over time you forgot about it because you placed these expectations and judgments on yourself. But what if you went back? What if you actually reverted back into the inner kingdom of your emotional realms to retrieve some of the lost and hidden aspects of yourself, those inner children that want to be loved and listened to? What if you went all the way back and worked with them? What if you were willing to be that graceful with yourself, to choose a guide to accompany you on that deep dive? And if this has resonated for you, I am accepting clients, so let me know if that would be a dive that you would want assistance in. And we can either do a one-off session, or we could even go on to a deeper dive with some coaching ongoing. There's a soul realignment reading and a manifesting blueprint reading I'd highly recommend as well, which are part of the coaching package, or you can purchase those in one-off sessions, your choice, but it takes about an hour and a bit for me to put together before our call. And so I'll give you some homework to do as well, writing down your goals and what you are looking for specifically, and then when I actually deliver your manifesting blueprint to help you understand your soul secret recipe for how you best deploy and put together your energetic resources for you to then be able to get what you need from that exchange, that transaction, moving out of transactional relationships into pinnacle ones. Realizing that it is about putting people before profits, and realizing that profits are important, but by actually fostering a relationship with the people, then you foster a relationship longer term that generates more profits because of the loyalty of the people. So at the end of the day, respect and loyalty and trust really are pinnacle, foundational messages from the high rise of emotional awareness that the peaceful inner warrior follows as a prescription for their code of conduct, so to speak. Peaceful inner warriors live by a higher standard because they understand that we only get one go at this thing called life. And so we have to stop messing around. And we also have to stop taking life so seriously, and we also have to create a vision for what is possible without completely absconding our personal responsibility in the real world, unless it is looked after for us, in which case the universe is looking after us to do what we love, as long as we're not putting anyone else in obligation for paying for us, that we are able to do it for and of ourselves, for ourselves, without needing someone else, but appreciating the help and then living in abundance by not wanting more than what we actually need. To an extent, sometimes it's nice to be frivolous and spend a few extra dollars on something that is nice and new or novel, that might do something cool and exciting. Sometimes we like to purchase experiences. That's what all of our emotions ultimately drive us to do. Our emotions want a rush. What if we actually got okay with just being normal? Not normal, but like at an even keel. What if we kind of changed our standard of acceptability out of chaos, which is boredom and below, and moved into contentment, which then goes all the way up to the penthouse experience of peace and the peaceful inner warrior's true nature, which is ultimately what we are all at the heart of who and whose we truly are, as individuated expressions of the grand overall designer of us all. No separation, all connected. What do you think? What if we were one people, one humanity? Hue being the color of our skin, all of us included by hue. No separation. What does it matter? A few shades, 50 or more. Pop culture references. We have to realize that sometimes we are so entrenched in our own culture that we forget other people have different cultures and might not get the cultural reference, because it's only the cult you are whose belief systems you have bought into and adopted as if they were truth. Well, what if one day we find out that everything we thought was true isn't, because we find out a detail that nobody told us? Those things happen a lot. And they completely destroy our sense of identity, our sense of self. because then it feels like everybody betrayed us and nobody told us the truth for a really long time, depending on how long that lie was left untold. It's not a lie. It just feels venomous if it's held back, because then it robs us of the choice of deciding for ourselves. And we all really want choice. A month or so after I got out of the second hospital where I stayed in 2019, I found a book at the library by William Glasser called Warning: Psychiatry Can Be Hazardous to Your Mental Health. And in it, he actually said that a psychiatrist's first role, really, is to break the client, break the patient, and make sure that they accept their diagnosis. And in my visit to the mental health system in September/October 2019, it was crazy because I really bought into this huge story that could be believable and was at that time. And it's such a believable story. In fact, one day I'll write of it. But it was too fresh and too raw. And the trauma of going through 2.5 weeks of not being allowed to go home or have my rights to get checked on every 15 minutes, even though I had a sweet and delicious food, and I even got privileges to go outside too. I had a great experience, don't get me wrong, but at the same time it was still traumatizing. Those first 4 days in West 5th, Hamilton's #1 waterfall, that's what I call Waterfall 1, mood disorders program that I was stuck in under the Mental Health Act. Yeah, I got Form 3, which is 2 weeks, on top of the Form 1, which is up to 72 hours voluntary hold. Form 3 is not voluntary. Form 3 is voluntold. It's not even vol in anything. You're just there until you're told you could leave, which really made me feel like it was the modern day witch hunt. Because it's like, how do you prove your own sanity when others question it? And when you're part of a family that doesn't understand your belief systems because they're so different and foreign from theirs, make them not know how to support you. And sometimes they can turn on you too, and it's devastating. But it is what it is, ultimately. Ultimately, there's nothing that you can do different from what is already done. So you've just got to accept that we've got to do the best that we can in the moment, and to realize that people will forget what we said, people will forget what we did, specifically, but they will never forget how we made them feel. And there have been several people that I have made feel real shitty, and I have felt super shitty because of how I made them feel in that moment. And some of my family members are huge in that regret, so to speak, and so I apologize sincerely, and then use the Ho'oponopono poem or prayer. The Hawaiian natives use the Ho'oponopono prayer, which is simply 4 words or 4 lines. So, I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me, thank you. But not rushing. So often we rush through things just to wait. Why not enjoy the whole experience? To put in enjoy onto the joy of the journey. Realizing J-O and Y start and end the journey. And we must be intentional about making sure the middle of it contains it too. This is enough. I've said to you. So I bid you adieu. Subscribe, share, like, and say thank you. I bid you adieu. I so appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for giving me all of your time, attention, effort, attention, money. I keep on messing it up. It's your team players, guys. It's your TEEAM. Time, energy, effort, attention, and money. Those are the energetic resources that you give everything, and you've given me 35 and a half minutes of yours. Why? Comment below. That would be my greatest appreciation. Thank you, thank you, thank you for doing so below. What is your biggest takeaway? Why did you just give me so much of your time? Because really, it makes a huge difference. It's the thing you can never get back. You might lose money, but you can never get time back. Time is gone once it's done. You don't get it back. And we don't know how much we get either. That end date always signs off the tombstone after the dash that fills the gap from when we are born until when we leave. And that little dash ultimately has to contain our legacy. It's why people show up to our funeral. It's why they care when they find out that we're not here anymore. Why? That dash makes the difference. And I hope that you'll make the difference in somebody's life by sharing it with them too. Because that certainly makes a difference to me. And I appreciate you for it. So, truly, now I say thanks. Ciao. Speak soon.